Y'all already know that Houston's original neighborhood downtown is for everyone, and it is popping in August with Downtown Houston's Plus most popular events in Market Square Park and Trebley Park, like Blanket Bingo, Movies Under the Stars, the Summer Trivia Series, and Beats and Flow Yoga. You can also enjoy cool treats at these night events from their Market Square Park farmers market vendors and Toot Suite in Trebley Park. Learn more about these great events at downtownhouston.org. Downtown Houston. Get energized and revived. Today on CityCast Houston. As the Houston Independent School District prepares for voters to approve the biggest school bond in Texas history, why are they making their audit meetings closed to the public? The same audit committee that will monitor any bond spending for taxpayers. Plus, this local university just set an all-time record for new students. And you won't believe what one local thief is stealing from Houstonians. Comedian, educator, and the host of Moth Story Slam in Houston, Dusti Rhodes, joins me to break down the stories you should know to start the week. It's Tuesday, August 27th. I'm Raheel Ramzanali, and here's what Houston's talking about. Dusti, welcome in. How are you? Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, thanks for having me.
So our listeners heard this in the intro. Your name is Dusti Rhodes, and me being a wrestling fan, and I think one of the most popular wrestlers ever, Dusti Rhodes. How often do you get stopped and asked, like, wait, your name is Dusti Rhodes, like the American dream Dusti Rhodes?
But yeah, all the time. Actually, for the first time ever, I don't know why I didn't do this for so many years, but last Halloween, I dressed as Dusti Rhodes for
Get
Halloween.
Out of here.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But yeah, no, it's funny too, because they're always like, are you named after the wrestler? And I'm like, no, I'm named after my dad. I'm like, your dad's the wrestler? I'm like, no. I mean, it's just like my dad, when he was in the Air Force, he got the nickname Dusti. And always wanted a son named Dusti Rhodes, but then he had 4 girls and I was the last one. So he had to just settle for a girl named Dusti Rhodes.
So you're his Dusti Rhodes, and that's what matters. Yeah, love that. I saw the name and I'm like, yeah, that is, we have Dusti Rhodes on, but we've got our Dusti Rhodes on. So I'm excited to have you on. And let's jump into it. Let's talk about the biggest stories to know this week. And we are going to head to HISD, where members of the state-appointed board will no longer be meeting publicly for the first time in 17 years for their audit committee meetings. The 3 board members, Rick Campo, Adam Rivone, and Chair Jeanette Garza Lindner, make up the audit committee. The committee's job is to oversee financial statements, monitor any risk, and make sure there's proper internal controls for HISD. Think of it like HISD's own internal watchdog for good government. So why are the public meetings going away? Well, the chair, Garza Lindner, says this move will eliminate the committee from working independently. And instead, she says more people will now be able to give input on the audits and recommendations because they will be included on the regular board meeting agendas for all 9 board members who are, again, appointed by the state and community members to review. So initially, what are your thoughts on this, Dusti? Because HISD has so many stories coming out every single day. But the one thing that we thought we would have is insight to what's happening and some kind of oversight.
Yeah, I think like that's the biggest thing. Like right now, the last thing that HISD needs to be doing is making anything not fully available to the public. And I don't really understand how they're kind of trying to sell it as like, we're going to go private, like we're not going to be public, but now you'll know more. It's like, nope, that doesn't, like those two things just do not add up, especially right now with concerns about how they are handling their budget. And Mike Miles's past is also like his past with his last district, you know, there were financial concerns there. Anything tied to him should be open to the public and very transparent.
So this is where it gets confusing for me, okay? So hang tight here. I'm going to explain this. So since the state's takeover, it's been trending to being closed, these meetings, because the committee never posted video from their open meetings like previous committees have when they started their meetings after the takeover in June of 2023. Now, they are available through an open records request. So there is that. But like, I know they're saying that this is more to have a discussion and to get more people to talk about it. And the committee can now present this in the general meetings. but it seems like they were trending this way anyways. Now, the second part of this, according to an audit of the meeting for all of last year's school year, nobody ever joined these meetings, okay? So even though they were open, nobody ever registered to speak during the meetings. So why not just leave it open? Like, why make this private now? Just leave it open and nobody's talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just kind of like, it's a little sus. Like, what's the need for this change? Like, maybe provide like more justification, because even if nobody was coming before, like, why not? And like, what, were you communicating enough so that people knew about it? Did people know they could attend to speak on this? The one thing I think with this takeover that they haven't been is they have not communicated enough with the public. It's sort of, they just do something and then it happens and then people are unhappy and they're like, oh, well, that's just part of the takeover. And it's like, you should be over communicating everything right now, because parents are unhappy, students are unhappy. The city of Houston is in large part, like, every time I say I'm a teacher, people are like, oh my God, do you work at HISD? And even my reaction is like, I'll just say that. I'm like, oh yeah, I work in education, not for HISD. You know what I mean? Like, very clearly, because it's just not something I want to be tied to.
Yeah, when we interviewed Mike Miles on the podcast, I asked him about the communication because it's been such a big issue. And he just kind of said, look, we're a huge district. It's hard for huge districts. I'm like, come on, you got to solve this. And they are working towards it. So we'll see how they do it. But again, here's another story that just impacts the public's trust with the state takeover, right? And that's what it is. If you can manage that, if you can not have these stories come out, I don't know, every day it seems like,
right? Exactly.
Then maybe the public could start trusting you. You working in education for as long as you have, I would love to get your thoughts from you talking to fellow teachers and colleagues about Mike Miles and the state's takeover. Like, what are they thinking?
I think in general, not good. Like, I've had teachers that left HISD. I've worked with teachers who came to the district that I work at because long hours. And really, like, again, communication with teachers is not clear on like what their expectations are, and they're always changing. And you're in the middle of a teacher shortage right now. And everybody talks about the pay being fantastic, but even that, when I talk to people about that, they're like, well, yes, but no, because there's a lot of teachers that were like overpromised in salary, and that is not what happened at the end of the year. I was talking to someone because they're like, why wouldn't you go teach English and HIC? You get like $90,000 a year, which is great, except it's if you meet all of these like graded expectations and your like observations and stuff. It's not just like a guaranteed, we're going to give you this much money.
Wow. And by the way, just for context, why is this such an important story and why is it raising some eyebrows with people who watch HISD? Because the district is going to be asking voters to approve the largest school bond in Texas history at $4.4 billion in November. So why are you doing away with public audit committee meetings now? So just like, come on, you could play this so much better.
If we're going to give you that much money, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
And how is that being decided?
By the way, previous audit committees did find issues with previous bonds. So that's why this committee is important. And again, they're not doing away with the committee. They're just doing away with these meetings being public. So they'll just bring their recommendations now to the big meetings that everyone can register to talk at. And they are public, they are broadcast. So that's what's happening. The Holocaust Museum Houston's new exhibition, Facing Survival, by David Casson, is now on view through January 5th. David's work has hauntingly captured the poignant stories and portraits of more than 24 Holocaust survivors, including Houston's own Elsa Ross and Ruth Steinfeld. Also featured is Auschwitz survivor Martin Greenfield, who became one of America's greatest men's tailors, making custom suits for 6 presidents and notable celebrities. Holocaust Museum Houston is always free for kids 18 and under and college students. It's also free for everyone Thursdays 2 to 5 p.m. Plus, they are open Labor Day and free for active duty military and their family. You can get your tickets now and learn more about Facing Survival at hmh.org/Facing Survival. That's hmh.org/Facing Survival. Your general admission ticket to the Holocaust Museum Houston gets you into all exhibitions and galleries.
Make this new school year an opportunity for your kids to learn important life skills with Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app for families where kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely, while parents keep an eye on kids' money habits. Greenlight also helps families get into their fall routine with a chores feature that lets parents assign chores and pay kids allowance when they check them off. Get your first month free at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
All right, Dusty, let's get to some lightning round because we have some stories that I would love to get your opinion on. First of all, you are a proud Cougar, okay? And shout out to the University of Houston because they just enrolled a record-breaking number of students as the fall semester begins, with more than 6,200 students enrolling in the class of 2027. And by the way, they had 33,000 applicants, which was also a record. Like, that is unbelievable, right?
And some of those are my former students. Sorry.
Hey, no, that's great. As long as I've lived here, right? And that's since 1990, it's always seemed like the University of Houston was a safety school. It was an afterthought, but things are really changing now for the University of Houston, and it's getting hard to get into. I mean, look at that number, 33,000 applicants, and only 6,200 made the cut.
Yeah. I remember because the last 2 years that I was teaching seniors, it was harder to get into U of H than it was to get into Texas A&M, which to me is insane because, not to date myself, but I started at U of H in 2000. And I remember being made fun of. Everybody's like, you're going to Cougar High. And it just didn't have a great reputation. But I always really was proud of the education I got there, mostly because U of H, really, all of our professors really stressed getting experience in your field now. Because I first went to school for journalism. So it was I started working at the Daily Cougar because my professors were like, you need to start getting copy now. You need to start getting experience now. But then it's also, I have conversations with my students about, they're like, Miss Rhodes, you got into U of H. And I'm like, it was a lot easier for me and also a lot cheaper for me to go to U of H than it is for you now. But I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of seniors as well. I mentor a lot of kids around the community. And again, getting into U of H is no longer an easy task, right? By the way, UH Provost Diane Chase said that this record is due to many different things, which includes the move to the Big 12, which is the athletic conference that the Cougars are now part of heading into year 2. It also goes with the success of their basketball team, which seems like it's playing in the Sweet 16 every single year.
Yep.
She went on to say, and I'm paraphrasing this quote a little bit, okay, but she basically said, look, all the athletic factors are great, but it's the academic experience we have here that is attracting a lot of students. And it really is. I mean, they are a really good school now.
Yeah, speaking to the academics, one of my students that will graduate this year is graduating in environmental science. Just the amount of experience that she's already gotten and the connections that they make. That's also, I think people don't realize that the Bauer College of Business has so much connections inside of Houston. It's almost hard not to get a job in Houston or an internship if you go to school for business at U of H, because they're just so connected to so many companies in Houston. But it's crazy that there were so many students that I had that U of H was their number one choice. And I was like, that's amazing. Cause that's I was like, it was my number one choice because I knew I'd get in and I had to live it. My parents needed me to live at home when I went to college. So I was
Yeah, that experience is second to none. And look, I'm a proud Texas Longhorn. We have big egos about going to Texas, right? And we always made fun of our Cougar friends, right?
Yeah.
Making that joke of you're going to UH High and whatnot.
Oh, I remember.
But I think we're going to have to cut out those jokes, look, you're in the Big 12, although we're not there anymore and Oklahoma's not there. So I got to make one last joke. Good luck playing on whatever random network you're on because we're not there anymore. But I'm so happy for them. And it's just so much hard work that goes into improving our city's university. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, Dusty, our second story is a quick update regarding the story we talked about last week on the podcast about Attorney General Ken Paxton attempting to shut down the immigrant rights group FIEL by claiming that it violated federal rules governing nonprofits' political involvement when it criticized former President Donald Trump, Governor Greg Abbott, and a new state immigration law. Well, Harris County District Judge Ravi Sandhill rejected a request for a temporary injunction by Paxton's office and stopped the case from proceeding. By the way, this comes from Alejandro Serrano of the Texas Tribune, who had the story. And in that story, Fiel Executive Director Cesar Espinoza said, quote, "We hope today's ruling will let us get back to what's really important, which is serving our membership." I love seeing this because Judge Sandel just said, "No, we're not doing this, guys. Please go play games somewhere else."
Yeah. Rights groups are going to speak out about politicians who don't benefit their group. Like that's that's never not been a thing. Like you don't see like Planned Parenthood over here, like saying that Donald Trump is the best president ever either. You know what I mean? Like, so just like, especially the population that they serve. And it's not like it's unheard of that Donald Trump is not, the most popular dude amongst immigrants. This isn't anything that nobody knows.
Okay, let's get to our next story, and we got to pour one out for the Megabus. Do you know what the Megabus is?
Yes, because I do stand up, and a lot of times, like the Megabus was awesome because you get Wi-Fi, you like sit at a table, and like it just drives you all the way to Austin. Yes. Oh yeah,
yeah, for really affordable prices.
You're like $1. I think I took one once, and it was like $5 or something. Like,
it was the best. And that once popular affordable bus system, which connected multiple Texas cities, has now shut down operations in Texas. Megabus, which was known for their big, bright buses that advertised that $1 route, which we would always look for. Like, I need that $1 ticket.
Yeah.
It always included free Wi-Fi. And it had the most random little parking lot in downtown where you would drop off or pick up riders. And that was like my fondest memory because every Friday evening, I would pick up my little sister from that random parking lot in downtown because she would take the bus from San Antonio. She was a student at the University of Texas in San Antonio. She didn't have a car. So she would take that affordable bus ride home. I would pick her up every Friday, it seemed like. And it just became my little tradition to end the week. It was just so much fun. And I don't know, it like the Megabus was a big part of my life for a few years.
Yeah, no, like same. Because it was so much easier. Like I had a car, but I'm like, if I could save on gas and like I can sleep the whole way there and sleep the whole way home, or like do stuff on my laptop if I needed to. Yeah, I remember I was driving this week when the news story came on and I was just like, are you serious? But I think it's because, didn't they say the company that makes the buses is shutting down?
Well, yeah, the changes are coming after Coach USA, Megabus's owner, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and got court approval to sell its Megabus service in July. The company blamed its bankruptcy on a decline in ridership during the pandemic. So I don't know. Is it just, people don't want to take the Megabus anymore?
Yeah.
Or people just, finding affordable cars now and they rather just drive themselves? Who knows?
Yeah.
But rest in peace, Megabus in Texas. Yeah, because it served a great purpose to a lot of people here who didn't want to spend the gas or were like, hey, why am I wasting gas and why am I adding to the pollution already? I can just take one bus, which also, it does add pollution. Okay, so I will say that. Yes, yeah. But still, you're helping out a little bit, maybe. All right, Dusty, this brings us to Only in H-Town, a story so wacky, so unique that it can only happen right here in our beloved city. And only in H-Town can a person commit a crime so bizarre that it left everybody speechless. And our friend Pooja Lodia of ABC 13 has this story because she obtained surveillance video from a neighborhood in North Houston showing a man stealing trees from residents' front yards. Yes, Dusty, you heard me right. This man was stealing trees.
Does he have a truck that's marked that he's a landscaper? I just don't understand how no one, also why? Where are the trees going?
I can tell you exactly how this happened. The man literally walked up and yanked a tree from one neighbor's yard and then came back a few minutes later, snatch another one, but that one he couldn't rip it out. Okay, so he went and grabbed a tool to help and then did complete the job. One resident saw it on her home's surveillance video, so she called another neighbor to go find out, why is somebody stealing trees out of my yard and all of our yards, it seemed like. So the other neighbor runs and confronts the man, and she sees the trees in a trolley, in a little shopping cart. And he just rolled them away. Yes, this is real.
And didn't say anything. It was just bye.
Didn't say anything. Didn't say why he was doing it. So the resident who chased after the man did manage to get one of the trees back and brought that back. But when Pooja was talking to the residents, you could just see in the footage, and they had B-roll of this, that there are just empty holes in the ground. Now, the trees weren't like huge, mature trees or anything. They looked to be younger trees. But yeah, there's just holes there. And the residents said they're not going to press charges. They just want the man to stop stealing the trees from their front yard because, it's just annoying.
Yeah, it's weird and annoying, but it's also like now he's a very intriguing character. It's like, what are you doing with them? Why are you doing this? I want to meet this man.
Okay, final thing on this story, Dusty, because this is like even more only in H-Town. As Pooja was interviewing one of the residents, the person on camera realized that the man also stole some shrubs and bushes from the side of her house. Like, what?
She's like, look at this hole. And she's like, wait, there used to be bushes there.
Dusty, that was exactly it. On camera, she goes, wait, hold on. I used to have shrubs and bushes here. There's just dirt. Like, okay, it's not funny that somebody stole all this, but it is kind of entertaining. Like, what are we doing here?
It is, because it's so bizarre. Can you imagine being those people and maybe like going over to a friend's house for a child's birthday or something and seeing your trees and bushes now in their yard? You're like, these are mine. Where'd you get these from?
And look, this is where I was confused. I just could not figure it out. Like, is there a hot resale market right now for young trees that we don't know about?
Everybody's always trying to plant more trees. So I'm like, I don't think there's a shortage of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of trees. I see a lot of trees everywhere. So I'm not sure what's happening. Maybe this goes back to The Dark Knight, which is the Batman movie. And it's that lesson of some men just want to watch the world burn, right? Like there's no purpose to this one. It's just a man who was stealing trees and was committed to the bit.
Just to see if he could do it.
Yeah. Only in H-Town will a guy just steal trees from the front yards of residents in North Houston. I love my city. Dusty, before I let you go, you got to tell me what's coming up for you because you are the host of the Moth Story Slam, right? So tell me, when is it coming up?
So the next one's going to be September 10th at Warehouse Live Rise. So that's the new location in Midtown. And the theme is elbow grease. And so the way that the Story Slam works, if people are unfamiliar with it, anybody can come and sign up to tell a story. We put all of the names in a bag and then we draw them out randomly. So we don't necessarily know who's going to tell a story. We just know that it's going to be on the theme. And it's a really fun night and a really cool way to learn about like the different lives of Houstonians.
Oh, that is so cool. I can't wait to check it out. And I love hearing stories from the Moth. They are part of the NPR fabric for me. So I love it. And it's so cool to see you doing it. Thank you again for joining us. That was a lot of fun and hope to see you back on here soon.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
That was comedian, educator, and host of the Moth Story Slam, Dusti Rhodes. For even more daily news and happenings, be sure to subscribe to our daily newsletter, Hey Houston, with the info in our show notes. And before we go, if this episode made you smile, text it to 3 friends who live on the north side of town and drop us a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you. That will do it for today. I'm Raheel Ramzanali. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something new. One thing, Dusty, are you clicking a pen or something right now?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm a fidgeter. I'm sorry. Okay. I'll stop it.